Hi there, and welcome back to another episode of I have no idea what I'm doing. So here I am, learning a new instrument, because, as I've told you before, I identify as chaotic. So one of my resolutions for 2021 is to learn to play the bass. So ever since I had a problem with trying to learn to play the guitar several years ago, I decided afterwards that later on in life I would want to learn to play the bass. And I've been putting it off until now. Because if you aren't learning to play a new instrument from scratch, was it even a pandemic? And almost all of them pointed me towards Fender, namely a P-bass, because those are more preferable to putting through an audio interface like this one up here. Also because Fender happens to be a master at making basses. So with the help of ye olde internet, I went through and looked at Guitar Center for some of their decent Fender basses. And I found some really good ones for the low price of $700. Too bougie for me. So I started looking around the internet and doing a ton of research. I literally fell down the rabbit hole of research, trying to find a decent starter bass, but also something that I could get a lot of mileage out of. That's when I came across the SR300. It looked like a good bass, and it's said to be very versatile, which is something I always look for in an instrument. So anyway, I'm over-explaining. The point is, I got my bass. Here's one of the unfortunate things, is that they... hair in my mouth. The sad thing is that it doesn't look like they put a fragile sign on this box, which is something I really think a professional company should do. Even though their website promotes professional shipping, they should always have the word fragile written in really big words or stamped on a box that they're shipping instruments in. That's the only complaint I have about this, thus far. I haven't opened the box yet. Let's change that, shall we? I know how psycho I must have looked to you guys when I was deploying this thing, like I was just gonna go like like a psycho, but I don't do that kind of thing. Unfortunately, I am not too daring with big important packages like that. Especially with a big fragile instrument like this. Is it fragile? I don't know. I heard that this model is supposed to be durable for the rigors of band playing, so I'm just gonna go ahead and get into the opening of this box. Excuse me. Ooh, she thin. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to Glenn. Am I naming him after Glenn Danzig or Glenn Gatsby? Honestly, why not both? So we are going to look into the aesthetics of this bass. It's pretty much your typical... Hello? It's pretty much your standard Ibanez design. It's got the Zeal type body frame. It's got the 2-on-2 headstock, which is one of my personal favorites, but I have a feeling I'm going to be annoyed by that because a lot of people happen to be annoyed with tuning one way and then going this way to tune the other way, which I will admit, I believe is going to be a challenge. It has 5 metallic knobs and a toggle switch. Ooh, it's a fancy toggle switch. Why didn't I just turn into Matt Smith all of a sudden?
Nice action on the toggle switches. You know, I do love a toggle switch.
The neck is very thin compared to most basses, and my phalanges are really long, so I have a feeling people are going to be complaining about my thumb being higher on the neckboard than it should be, but oh well. The color is very beautiful. I opted for the flat black color because I really don't like the basses that are, you know, overly glossy and really reflective. You know what I mean? I honestly prefer a bass that has more of a natural texture to it, and that is what this bass basically portrays. I don't know if this will show up on camera, but I can show you guys a closer look so that you guys can see the color and the texture. Very much like a natural wooden texture, which is something that I was really looking for in a bass. The only problem is that while I really do love black, and I do like black instruments, some instruments I honestly prefer to have more of a natural color tone to them, like, you know, maybe a walnut or a mahogany. That wasn't available on the SR300. However, it is available on the GSR200. Ibanez, Care to explain this? All in all, I'm very happy with the appearance. From the back, you can see that the 9-volt battery is easily accessible. The neck is secured by 4 bolts attached to the body. Thanks, Rachel. The neck is stunning. It is a 5-piece maple and rosewood, and me being a huge fan of Art Deco, that is a bonus. Oh god. Okay, I think I just found my first problem with this bass. The knob on the treble preamp is loose. Like, it literally just pops right off. It doesn't even pop off. It'll literally fall off if I try and hold the bass like this. So I don't really know... What do you mean I don't know? Of course I know what I'm gonna do about that. Welcome to Steph's Workshop, where we do jackass things for views. Alright, now the first thing that I want to do is to make sure that this is in a neutral position, like so. Is that how big it is? I'm not quite sure, honestly. But we're about to find out.
A few inches later.
Okay, it turns out I wasn't being stupid. I actually did know exactly what to do for those little knobs. Apparently you can tighten them and loosen them with these little hexa screws. For those of you wondering, I used the 2mm ones. Thank God for crafty tools, am I right? So now it's time to do something even safer than trying to repair loose knobs. And no, I am not being facetious this time. We're gonna tune this baby. Now, unlike most guitarists, I use a Korg CA30 chromatic tuner, which is larger than what normal guitarists usually use, but I use this for my harps. Bass wires on a harp actually go lower than a regular 4-string bass, so it should pick up the low notes just fine. Alright, he's all tuned up. And now it's time for... Am I tilted? That better? Are we Gucci? Now there's nothing left to do except to plug this baby in and see how... Now there's nothing left to do except plug this baby in and see how he sounds. So now that I've covered how this bass looks, let's talk about how this bass sounds. Quick disclaimer here, I know not the first thing about playing bass, and that is about to become painfully obvious.
It's only fair to warn you. I have no idea what I'm doing.
So, if this makes you cringe, shield thine eyes! So we've got like 5 different knobs here. And me being an organist, I am no stranger to knobs, as you guys can see. We've also got a toggle switch here that goes from something called tap to series to power tap. I have no idea what those do yet, but I have a feeling I will find out in just a minute. And through closer examination of this little diagram that came with the bass here, this knob is actually the bass boost, not the treble boost. Whoops. See, we're learning, people. This is a learning experience. Mostly for me, but entertaining to anybody else who wants to watch. Are my fingers too spider-like for this? Because I feel like my plucking technique is really off. Because I'm pretty sure I'm not supposed to be resting my thumb like this, but it always looks weird when I'm doing it like this. Okay, so since I'm using an audio interface, I'm not going to bother with messing with the active preamp because it's already active as it needs to be already, because I'm not going to go insane with trying to overdo everything. This right here is the master volume notch, and this knob right here controls which pickup is active, which part of the dual coil pickups is active. Also, the 300, unlike its 200 counterpart, has 2 humbucker soap bar pickups, whereas the 200 just had a P pickup and a J pickup. So that's a key difference to note before you buy the 300 versus the 200. I wanted to go with the humbuckers because I feel that those are more versatile than just the average P or J bass, but then again, it also depends on what you're looking for a specific sound. Different kinds of basses are good for different kinds of things. It's always good to have more in your arsenal so that you can be ready for anything. Here I am back in central position, but I want to see what happens when I go to the bridge pickup this time. It's got a more rounder sound to it compared to the neck pickup, where it sounded a little bit more throaty or nasally. I don't know exactly how to properly describe it. It's not nasally in the neck pickup, but at the same time, it's a little bit more brighter and it's got a little bit more color. But in the bridge pickup, it's a little bit more bassy. It's got a little bit less color to it, but it sounds more full and round, more like a warm sound. So this bass comes highly recommended for beginners, and it is a decent kind of bass that will get you more bang for your buck. This bass retails between $350 to $400. If you ever find yourself in a tight spot and you need a bass like right now, like immediately, it would be recommended that you go ahead and go for the SR300, but if you can afford it, and if you can wait or go through what I went through with the secondhand mom and pop shops, go ahead and get yourself an SR300. This is going to be a journey that I am going to be taking you guys along with me. So I'm going to try and document as much as I can, particularly the online bass lessons that I am going to be taking. And if I can hit 450 subs in the middle of this month, I will start live streaming some of my practice sessions with you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit that thumbs up button. Also, if you're new here, feel free to like, share, comment, and subscribe. I upload every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today, and I will see you guys on Wednesday.